witness, who themselves testify to the greatness of Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam in that period. We didn't need anyone to say to us, for example, that he's the 6th out of 12. No. We could just say that if you were to look at that generation, ask the scholars of that generation, who's the grand scholar. Ask the scholars of the generation of Imam Ali ibn Musa alayhi salam, or Imam al-Jawad, or Imam al-Hadi. Ask the scholars of that generation, who's the top scholar in your generation. So you find that the Imams of Ahlulbayt are the most knowledgeable personalities, even living within their period. Whether a person takes them as being infallible figures, or takes them simply as leaders, they are seen as the most knowledgeable people in that period. Number two, their conduct is seen as being perfect. You won't find in history people who question the conduct of somebody like Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, or Muhammad al-Baqir, or Ja'far as-Sadiq. Whereas you will find scholars of greatness in their era, but people question their political maneuvers on certain issues. So on the issues of their morals and the issues of their knowledge, nobody comes near them even in the period when they were living.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to conclude on the part of history we were talking about, i.e. the migration, I remember reading a narration where Imam Ali alayhi salam said that the best night's sleep he'd ever had was on that particular night when he was in the bed. And I've never really been able to understand this, because I think that if I had the honor of sleeping in that bed, I wouldn't actually sleep, I'd be awake. How was it that he was, one, able to sleep, and two, it was the most comfortable sleep of his life?
I think it can be answered by the fact that, you know, if you've got that affection for your father figure in your life, and you suddenly realize that your father figure has managed to find safety on a night when they were meant to kill him, then you're at peace with yourself. Because what is worse for you is having to live with the fact that your father got killed and you couldn't help him. Which only, you know, beggars the question, how did Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam survive after Karbala? You know, the strength he needed. Whereas Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, knowing Rasulullah is now safe, that was peace for him.
Okay, thank you very much. And when the Holy Prophet, alhamdulillah, finally reached, what I was going to say Medina or Yathrib or the outskirts, he didn't actually enter straight away. Apparently he waited a few days, 3 or 4 days, for Imam Ali alayhi salam to arrive. Can we read anything into that?
We can definitely read something into it, because if you read the historical narratives, he stays at Quba, at the mosque, which many people know because of their Hajj duties. So he stays at Quba, and while he's staying at Quba, he decides to wait a few days for the Imam to come with the Fawatim and so on. And the first Caliph actually says to him, come on, let's go towards Medina, people are waiting. He says, there's no way I'm going to go. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam sacrificed his life for me, and I decide to go on and just leave him alone? I'm going to wait here until he comes.
But everybody in Medina was waiting for the Prophet. Well, I mean, I don't know, you know, in terms of numbers, surely, I don't know, 10,000 people in Medina at the time, I guess, as opposed to one companion of the Holy Prophet waiting for him to come, you know, is this right?
Well, it's not any companion, you know, it's someone who he himself views as his brother on the earth, someone who he brought up. It's like, you know, if you brought someone up, or you adopted them, and then you know that there's dangers facing them on that journey. You never know if they didn't catch up with me because I was protected by the Lord through a cobweb and a pigeon egg. But, you know, has Ali got through? And his point was proved correct, that when Imam Ali alayhi salam reached him, Imam was full of bruises. You know, it wasn't an easy journey, you know, and he was full of bruises. And one narration we have was that Rasulullah took some of his saliva and he placed it on the bruise, and Imam felt at peace. You know, so the Prophet sees Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib as someone he brought up. He can't bear to move on unless he has his brother alongside him.
And I suppose it helps in terms of making a statement to the people of Yathrib at the time to actually see him entering into Medina for the first time, because for many of the people in Medina, they wouldn't have actually cast eyes on the Holy Prophet ever until that particular point. But for him to have his cousin and obviously his successor alongside him, I suppose there's a symbolic.
I think it's a fantastic point, because I think, you know, Da'wat al-Ashira, he's already made it clear about his position. The night of Hijrah, he makes clear who the only person is who can look after this particular sacrifice. And now entering Medina, and even after entering Medina, when he brings all the companions together, you find that he makes another clear statement.
I think are you referring to the Mu'akhat?
Yeah, in the Mu'akhat, in the issue of the brotherhood, you find that when he notices that migrants from Mecca have come and the helpers of Medina are there. So naturally he doesn't want any tension to develop. So, he wants to bring, all these companions together. The Ansar come together, the Muhajirun come together, and you've got great companions who, suddenly start joining each other. So, for example, he may say to the migrant, such as Umar ibn al-Khattab, I want you to be a companion of the Ansar by the name of Al-Aws ibn Thabit, for example. Even Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf became a brother, if I'm not mistaken, of Sa'd ibn Rabi', and Sa'd ibn Rabi' said to Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf, now that you become my brother, I don't care you're from Mecca, I'm from Medina, now that you become my brother, any of my wives is yours. That's how close they got. And so everybody's wondering that, okay, a Muhajir, Ansar, all of them together, and Imam is also wondering, who am I going to be taken as a brother with? And the Prophet says that Ali, you are to me as Aaron was to Moses. So you find that he takes Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam as his brother on that day. And so for someone later on to say that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's best friend is somebody else, well, if his best friend is somebody else, why doesn't he take him as his brother on that day? Why does he take Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam ahead of everybody as his brother on that day? Because he's making it very clear. Even if there's a 30-year age gap between us, this is the man who's my brother on the earth. There is no difference in the idea that he is myself walking with me.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Syed. What happened when now that the Holy Prophet is in Medina and the Qibla changed? They were facing Jerusalem, and then it changed. The Holy Prophet received revelation that he should now face Makkah. What happened?
Well, you find that there was a period where they're facing Jerusalem, and the Kaaba is, of course, seen as a place of a holy history, but at the same time seen as a place where it's surrounded by idol worshippers and so on. At the same time, there seems to be a mockery from the Jews of the time that you don't even have your own place, you've got to come towards ours. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala times it at a particular time that we'll wait for a moment when it's wise for us to tell you to face towards Mecca, where we feel now is the time where your followers, now that we've established Salah as set in concrete for the people of Medina, now also will be established in concrete that their Qibla is that Qibla. And both are honorable, as in, just because the Qibla went towards Mecca doesn't mean now Jerusalem is not a place of honor. On the contrary, Jerusalem is a place where the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stepped on. The place where some narrations mention Rasulullah went on the night of Mi'raj from. So there was already an honor which was given there, but it was decided now that the Medinian period had begun and Salah is instituted for everybody, that there was a change of Qibla which takes place.
How, I'm just trying to visualize, because when I went to Hajj, it's almost like a 180-degree turn. How did the Prophet do this? Because I believe it was actually during Salah, and did the companions follow suit?
Yes, they would follow suit. So obviously they're following him. In those days as well, you're following him in every step to make sure that your prayer is the exact prayer. It's not like today where 1,400 years later, we've seen generations of prayers. This is right at the beginning of the institution of Salah, and so they follow him in his exact movements. Within the Salah, as he turns, they turned as well.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go to break now, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion. Please continue to call in.
شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك.
حق الحج.
وحق الحج أن تعلم أنه وفادة إلى ربك وفرار إليه من ذنوبك، وبه قبول توبتك وقضاء الفرض الذي أوجبه الله عليك.
اللهم صل على الهدي محمد، 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 اللهم صل على الهدي محمد.
لبيك اللهم لبيك، لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك، إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك.
حیدر غریبه، حیدر غریبه، حیدر غریبه، حیدر زهرا حیدر غریبه، حیدر غریبه. برچلوی مهاجر ترک سفر کن، فکری به حال این زمین خونین جگر کن. اگه تو بری دل زینب میگیره، اگه تو بری علی به خدا میمیره، اگه تو بری علی به خدا دل بی شکیبه. حیدر غریبه، بنگر نوای لب زینب اما یجیبه. حیدر غریبه، حیدر غریبه، حیدر غریبه، حیدر حیدر غریبه. ای ماه من روشونه ها کوهیز آهه، رخسار تو در پشت یک ابر سیاهه. ای ماه من روشونه ها کوهیز آهه، رخسار تو در پشت یک ابر سیاهه. نزار که اجل در خونه دلو